So we could park next to the Airborne Museum. Thank God there was a car that was already going, so we could park, because otherwise there was no spot. Like, we were already driving away looking for another spot, but thank God someone was going. Welcome to another century. So this is about the Battle of Arnhem, this museum, and World War II. Looks quite classic, quite nice. When Germany invaded the Netherlands in 1940, the fights only lasted for 5 days, because the Netherlands surrendered pretty quickly, and then the Netherlands was part of Nazi Germany. And some people went on with their lives, some others helped the Germans, some they became part of Het Verzet, so the rebellious group that was trying to get the Germans out of the Netherlands. But it stayed kind of peaceful at first.
Sterke afdelingen geallieerde luchtlandingstroepen van het eerste geallieerde luchtlandingsleger in Nederland neergelaten. In het kwartier van 4:15 tot 5 zou een mededeling van de geallieerden.
Germans were using these weapons. As you can see, a rifle, cannon, kind of machine gun. That's mortar. And that's from the British Army, I believe. RAF. these are the uniforms from the 4th Brigade and the Polish soldiers. And the bridge over the Rhine, was lost in that battle and then reconquered again during the second battle, and it was named after John Frost. That's where we were, in Arnhem, in the center.
Die Engelsen om met zo'n stoeltjes. Ja, klein, hè, dus dat ging via de lucht. We moesten allemaal de kleine wegmolen.
It is very eye-opening to see all of this and to listen to the stories of survivors, because for us people who have never lived through a war, it's quite hard to imagine how it feels, and it's good that that we have eyewitnesses that were filmed and documented, so that we, the people who never went through a war, also learn about it and take the stand of never again making war. Operation Market Garden, that was intended to liberate Arnhem from the Germans in the summer of 1944, was unfortunately not successful. There was some optimism that at least the Allied forces fought as much as they could, and the Germans were decimated. But the liberation of Arnhem and the Netherlands was still not succeeded.
Brigade Major reported north end of the bridge held. First Parachute Brigade report that they are being continuously attacked by tanks and the area is devastated.
Brug over de Rijn bij Arnhem te veroveren. Een kleine groep militairen wist de brug te bereiken, maar op 20 september moesten zij de strijd staken. De rest van de Britse 1st Airborne Division, ondersteund door een groep Poolse luchtlandingstroepen, trok zich terug op Oosterbeek en vormde de perimeter.
Om 9 uur, zoiets. Toen begon een geduvel en geschiet van je welste. Om 11:30 was het weer stil en en Wim liep naar buiten. De majoor zei, we hebben ze afgeslagen. Maar als ze morgenochtend met tanks komen, dan zijn we verloren.
De perimeter was op sommige punten nog geen kilometer breed en werd vanuit alle richtingen aangevallen en beschoten. De soldaten zaten ingesloten. Er was geen goede bevoorrading en al snel waren er grote tekorten aan eten, medische voorzieningen en munitie.
The hospital was a crumbling ruin, and yet, confined within its battered, shell-torn walls, there were some 400 wounded men in the direst need of food and fresh dressings, as well as the specialised medical and surgical attention their condition demanded. We who had the care of them not only lacked the means, but in some cases the physical strength to administer these necessities.
De inwoners van Oosterbeek hadden geen tijd om te vluchten en kwamen midden in de strijd terecht. Ze zochten beschutting in hun kelders en veel van hen hielden de Britse en Poolse troepen waar ze konden.
Er is een inslag bij de ingang van de kelder. We slapen naar adem. Iedereen zit onder de kap en het stof. Een tank vuurt vlak bij ons huis en de muur trillen alsof ze gemaakt zijn van ijzer. Als mannen slapen zitten we bij elkaar.
Hier in Villa Hartenstein werd het Britse hoofdkwartier ingericht. Vanuit deze kelder werden alle troepen in het gebied aangestuurd. Zij zouden de perimeter dagenlang met man en macht verdedigen.
You ought to see the shambles out there by divisional headquarters. The ground's like a stretch of open cast mining. All slick trenches and bomb holes. They just about had it, I reckon. Hartenstein looks as if it would fall down if you pushed it.
In deze tentoonstelling nemen dagboeken, brieven en persoonlijke verslagen je mee in de geschiedenis van de perimeter. Ontdek de verhalen, leef de geschiedenis en ontmoet de personen die de strijd van dichtbij hebben meegemaakt.
The Allies lost battle after battle, but they never gave up and it paid off. They won the war in the end. This in the lowest floor is a kind of experience room, but I don't know if we're gonna make it because we only have 10 minutes. see the prisoners of war. The Allies had many, and they killed many casualties and a lot of suffering. Never again. Never again. So that was it. That was the Airborne Museum. It was very nice, very eye-opening. It makes you think how privileged we are, those who live in peace. It's not obvious, and we should really keep it, because war is horrible. It's nice that these museums remind you of that. This is a message to anyone who says, war is cool, let's fight and conquer territories. War is the least fun thing there is. Not only do soldiers suffer, but also civilians, children, even animals. And all the suffering has no goal. No one wins. Some lose their family, others lose their home. When you start a war, you create chaos, death, misery, and no punishment is big enough for the aggressor. You are not only destroying a generation, you also impact the following generations by spreading hate and murdering their fathers. It's a very deep wound. Let's learn to solve issues without shooting at each other, not only for ourselves, but for everyone and everything around us.